hear ye, brave adventurers. The town of Bergraam, nestled amongst the foothills of the storied spine of the world, is in dire need of your aid. Our once peaceful lives have been shattered, series of violent earthquakes that threaten to reduce our homes and livelihoods to rubble. The ground beneath our feet trembles with unnatural fury, leaving fissures in its wake and threatening to swallow our homes whole. Buildings crumble, businesses lie in ruin, and fear grips the hearts of our stalwart people. The source of these tremors remains a mystery, a puzzle too complex for us simple folk to solve. We, the desperate people of Bergraam, call upon you, brave heroes, to answer our plea. We seek those with stout hearts, keen minds, and a thirst for adventure to investigate the source of these calamitous quakes. Could it be the wrath of a slumbering earth elemental, the stirrings of a forgotten god, or perhaps the machinations of some nefarious power hidden deep within the earth? We offer you challenge worthy of your talents, and a reward befitting your heroism. Glory, riches, and the eternal gratitude of the people of Bergraam await those who dare answer our call. Will you heed our plea and help us reclaim our peace? Come, heroes, join us in Bergraam. Time is of the essence, and the fate of our town hangs in the balance.
The air is thick with the smell of salt and seaweed as the Bergraam ferry chugs steadily across the open water. The sun hangs low on the horizon, painting the air in hues of orange and purple. You feel gentle rocking beneath your feet as the ferry cuts through the waves, leaving a frothy white trail in its wake. The ferry is crowded with a motley assortment of passengers, including merchants, pilgrims, and adventurers. You stand near the railing, gazing out at the vast expanse of water, lost in your own thoughts. In the distance, you can just make out the faint outline of Bergraam, bustling port city renowned for its trade and its somewhat lawless reputation. As you draw closer to the city, you see the silhouette of towering buildings and the flickering lights of countless torches and lanterns. The peace of the journey is shattered suddenly, cacophony of croaks, splashes, and the thud of heavy objects striking the deck. From the shadows along the shoreline, a horde of bullywugs launch a surprise attack on the ferry. The creatures, their slimy green skin glistening in the fading light, leap onto the deck, wielding crude spears and clubs. Their eyes burn with a savage hunger, their mouths open in wide, menacing grins, revealing rows of sharp teeth. Panic erupts among the passengers as the bullywugs swarm over the ferry. Merchants scramble for cover, pilgrims scream in terror, and even seasoned adventurers are taken aback beside the ferocity of the assault. The ferry's crew, outnumbered and outmatched, fight bravely but are quickly overwhelmed. The bullywugs, driven by primal instinct to conquer and pillage, press their attack relentlessly. It's clear that unless something is done to stop them, the ferry, and everyone aboard, will be lost. Amidst the chaos and bloodshed, you see an opportunity to make a difference. This is your chance to prove your worth, to show what you are capable of.
The ferry rocked gently, whilst Cyrus stood at the prow, his armor gleaming. His hand rested on the hilt of his bat'lix with the holy symbol of Bahamut etched into its pommel. The captain shouted orders to the crew as the sounds of croaking echoed ominously from the riverbanks. The bullywugs emerged with terrifying speed and guttural war cries as they leap onto the ferry. Cyrus takes the lead, raising his bat'lix high, the blade glowing faintly as he invokes divine favor, bolstering his attacks with Bahamut's blessing. His first strike cleaves a bullywug in two, radiant energy wheels behind him. The crew fights valiantly but struggles to hold the line. Cyrus bellows, "Stand firm. The light of Bahamut is with us." His words inspire courage among the passengers. More bullywugs leap onto the ferry, joined by a giant frog, who lashes out its tongue, grabbing a hapless passenger and dragging them toward its maw. Raising his shield, he casts command, his voice ringing with divine authority. "Release!" The frog freezes, its grip loosening as the passenger scrambles to safety. The bullywugs encircled Cyrus, their spears striking from all sides. He channels lay on hands, you warm glow emanating from his hands as he fortifies himself. Cyrus staggers but retaliates with a devastating divine smite, his bat'lix blazing with radiant power as it cuts deep into last bullywug. At long last the ferry is littered with the bodies of fallen bullywugs, and Cyrus kneels, offering prayer to Bahamut for the souls of the fallen. Perched atop a barrel, the half-elf bard Lyra Moonsong commanded the attention of the crowd. The music pulsed through the air, weaving a spell of enchantment. Suddenly, the idyllic scene shattered as bullywugs swarmed the boat, their menacing forms a stark contrast to the vibrant music. Raising her flute to her lips, she unleashed vicious mockery, causing the nearest bullywug to freeze, its grip on its spear faltering as its confidence wavered. Another lunged toward her, but Lara cast minor illusion, conjuring a thunderous roar behind the creature, giving her enough time to dart aside. The bullywugs began to swarm the deck, so she stepped to the center of the ferry, her voice rising as she cast Thunder Wave. The explosive sound sent bullywugs flying into the water. Lara pointed her flute at the largest bullywug. "You think yourself a leader?" Her words laced with magic. The creature began to laugh uncontrollably, its deep croaks turning into a bizarre, unsettling chuckle as Lyra's Tasha's hideous laughter spell took hold. Lara noticed a young deckhand, cornered by two bullywugs. With a whispered incantation, she called forth her unseen servant, who silently untied a rope hanging from the mast, tripping one and giving the deckhand a chance to escape. Sensing rising danger, she summoned her most powerful spell. Her flute emitted a high-pitched note that crescendoed into shattering wave of sound. Shatter exploded in the center of the enemy ranks, splintering wood and sending bullywugs sprawling. Lara tended to the wounded with her healing word, her soft melodies easing their pain. The captain approached her, bowing deeply. "You saved us tonight, Bard. Your songs are mightier than any sword." Lara smiled, tucking her flute into her belt. "Every melody holds power," she replied. "You just have to know how to play the right notes." Mano, a stout halfling with muscles packed onto his diminutive frame like cold steel, leaned against the railing. His rough hands clutched a mug of ale, and his sharp eyes were darting between the dark water and a beautiful lady at the prow of the ferry. She was statuesque and makes no reaction to Mano's obvious attempts to charm her. Suddenly, chaos erupted. The ferry lurched, sending Mano's mug flying as screeches and splashes came from the river. Bullywugs, amphibious, frog-like raiders, leaped aboard. Mano's blood ignited. He bellowed primal roar, activating rage, his small body swelling with adrenaline-fueled power. The bullywug's spear scraped harmlessly across his shoulder, deflected via his unarmored defense. Then he unleashed a martial arts flurry of strikes, his fists and feet moving in a blur. Mano dashed across the deck, weaving between crew members and bullywugs with the speed and agility of a seasoned monk. His small size made him a hard target, and his reckless laughter filled the air as he punched, kicked, and headbutted his way through the fray. One bullywug came from behind, swinging a club, but Mano used his ki to dodge, slipping past the blow and countering with powerful palm strike to its chest. Using his patient defense, he sidestepped attacks with uncanny speed, before launching into a flurry of strikes, combining monk-like precision with barbarian ferocity. Finally, he unleashed leaping spin kick, his small foot connecting with the final bullywug's jaw. He wiped the sweat from his brow and turned to the lady who remained unmoved, flashing a toothy grin. "Told ya I could drop an ogre. Or a frog. Same difference, ye?" Though his beloved still seemed unmoved, Mano downed his ale with gusto, basking in the glow of victory. The stout halfling, warrior, and showman at heart, was content, for now. Johann the Brutes, a stocky, bearded dwarf, sat on a barrel, regaling the ferry crew with terrible limerick about Brewer and his three-legged goat. The crew laughed nervously, unsure if it was safer to encourage the berserker or stay quiet. Suddenly shapes began to rise from the water, bullywugs, their slimy, grotesque forms wielding crude weapons. Johann threw back his head and let loose a guttural roar, triggering his frenzy. His laughter turned wild, his blood pumping with the berserkers in yielding fury. A bullywug jabbed his spear at his midsection, but Johann's dwarven sturdiness held firm. The weapon glanced off his thick hide as if it had struck stone. Johann waded into the thick of the fray, swinging his great axe with reckless abandon. His comedic commentary punctuated every swing. "You call that a jump? Mima could jump higher, and she's shorter than me, Alma." Despite his frenzied state, Johann couldn't resist showing off, spotting a tall lady at the prow. He bellowed, "Watch this, lass. This one's for you." He grabbed a nearby bullywug beside the leg and, with a feat of dwarven strength, hurled it into the river. As the battle raged, a hulking brute covered in swamp moss and scars emerged from the shadows. Johann met it with a roar, sidestepping its strike and bringing his axe around in devastating upward swing. The blade bit deep, sending the giant staggering. The remaining bullywugs fled into the river, their croaks of terror echoing as they disappeared beneath the surface. He turned to seek the tall lady who had attracted the attention of another short humanoid. "Wait, you recognize Manu the monk, and as the mist of battle clears, you see the lady your friend is wooing is just the fairy's figurehead." As the vessel continued its journey, the berserker's slaughter echoed across the river, as unyielding and unstoppable as the dwarf himself. Whilst primarily a passenger vessel, the Bergraam ferry boat did employ cavernous storage hold, which was filled to the brim with goods and supplies. And on this voyage, Salon, a stowaway with black hair and pale grey eyes clad in hide armor. The sounds from above deck started to change from music to screams and inhuman growls. Many years on the road had given Salon keen danger sense. "Looks like I'm not the only uninvited guest here," he grimaced. The scene on the deck of the ferry was a maelstrom of chaos by the time Salon arrived. "Rah!" he cried out as he began to recklessly attack in response, entering an unrestrained battle rage and fury. When no more opposition remained, the frenzy subsided, leaving the warrior breathing heavily and exhausted. At his feet lay the remains of dozens of bullywugs, their crude weapons splintered and their bodies broken. It took Salon a moment to recognize that the ferry had fallen silent, the sounds of battle and conflict now distant memory. His musings were broken by a slow clapping from behind. He spun around to see the ship's captain and several of the crew behind him. "Nicely done. You fight like a man possessed. Normally the lads and I would be lining up to buy an ale for a fighter like you. What's stopping you?" Salon replied between ragged breaths. "As a captain, it's my job to know every passenger aboard, and yours is not a face easily forgotten. I am sure the Bergraam dock authorities will be interested to meet you." "Yes, I writes I am in your debt for saving this crew," he began. "However, make no mistake. If we catch you trying to pull a trick like this again, we'll not be so lenient," he finished as he walked away. "Understood," Salon muttered under his breath. Just another evening on the Bergraam ferry. The air in the bowels of the ferry was thick and damp. In the darkest corner, Elara Quercus stared. The iron cage surrounding her was a grim testament to the greed of the trader who had betrayed her. Her head ached, her body felt heavy, and the faint taste of poison lingered on her lips. She cursed her own naivety. But she didn't have time to wallow. From above came chorus of croaks, the sound of scuffles, and muffled shouts. The storage room's door burst apart, and 3 bullywugs stormed into the room. One barked something incomprehensible, pointing a webbed hand toward her. Through the bars of her cage, she raised trembling hand, and a jagged shard of icy energy formed at her fingertips as ray of frost erupted from her hand, striking the lead bullywug. The remaining bullywugs hesitated, their wide eyes flicking between the frozen corpse of their companion and the strange, caged woman. Then they lunged, their webbed hands grabbing the iron bars. Elara watched them carefully, her sharp mind already formulating the plan. With enraged croaks, the bullywugs pulled at the bars of the cage, as they tried to tear it apart. The iron groaned under their combined effort. Elara slammed her palms together, unleashing thunder wave, sending the 2 bullywugs flying backwards. Without wasting a moment, Elara slipped out of the ruined cage, grabbed her pack, slinging it over her shoulder, and whispered a quiet thanks to the luck that had spared her. The cool night air hit her face as she emerged onto the upper deck, her heart pounding with adrenaline. The battle with the bullywugs raged around her, but Elara had only one goal in mind, finding her way to Bergraam and uncovering the truth. "I'm coming for you." And no cage, no frog, and no fool will stop me. Elara stepped onto the deck, her magic crackling at her fingertips, ready to unleash her fury upon any who dared stand in her way.